If you'd have told me when there's 4 seconds left in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals, and the Sixers are down 2, and Jimmy Butler is streaming up court, seemingly to either force overtime or maybe pull up, take a 3, try to win the game right there, that 9 months later we'd be talking about breaking up the Sixers, Butler would be gone, that the J.J. Redick would be gone, that now we're talking about who can you keep, Ben or Joel? I'd have said, you're crazy. Like, this is a Philly. It's going to be Philly and Milwaukee in the East for the next decade. But the way Philly has played and the lack of maturity shown by their 2 stars and the lack of cohesiveness with those 2 guys on the court at the same time makes this a legitimate question. And to me, the easy answer is I'd rather build around Embiid. I'd rather trade Simmons. I think that Embiid, while I don't think he has reached his full potential, is certainly closer, and a guy who has shown the ability, if he can stay in shape and if he can get some of the NBA maturity stuff better in check, he can be a dominant force. In a league that is going small, having the biggest, strongest, potentially one of the toughest guys in the league can be an enormous benefit when he's as nimble as Joel has shown the ability to be. Meanwhile, Ben Simmons, if I show you video of him and I don't tell you what year it is, you have no idea what you're watching, whether it's first year Ben Simmons, second year Ben Simmons, this year Ben Simmons. He's the skill set that made him a tremendous rookie makes him disappointing at this point in his career. To me, there's no way around that. With that said, I do think he has trade value. I do think there would be teams that want him, teams that don't have a big man clogging the paint, that like what he could do. So I would, if I have to trade one of them, Howard, I'm trading Ben because I do think he has enormous value, and I'm keeping Joel.
I can't disagree. I can't disagree. And by the way, if anybody thinks, oh, it's premature, or why are these people already talking about trying to break these guys up, or the media's trying to, let me tell you something. This is the conversation around the entire NBA. This is what other teams are talking about too, that those 2 do not click well together, that the Sixers have hit a ceiling, and that it's inevitable. Whether it's this summer or by next year's trade deadline, whatever it's going to be, the clock is ticking on Simmons and Embiid. Now, that's ultimately up to the Sixers to decide, not all of the chatterboxes around the NBA. But that is the buzz around the league. And to your point, Nick, I lean Embiid also. It's not just the makeup, the fact that he's a 7-footer who's got some guard skills and can do damage inside and out, and the power and the nimbleness, all of that. It's that Joel Embiid cares. I liked seeing tears from Joel Embiid's eyes after they were eliminated by the Raptors. I liked the passion that was behind it. Now, if you want to say, yeah, but he didn't follow up, he didn't come back in the best of shape, or he didn't, fine, I get that. He cares. I look at Ben Simmons, and I don't know sometimes. He is so just kind of
emotionless. Completely.
Yeah, I don't even know how. He just very stoic out there, and that doesn't necessarily mean you don't care, right? Kawhi Leonard showed us you can be stoic and still have a great passion burning inside.
But Kawhi's also shown us how much he cares by every single year of his career.
Yes,
coming back with a new skill or an improved skill or an involved
He's a
game.
completely different player
So he proves to us you can. If you're not going to tell us you care through your emotions, you have to show us you care through the evolution of your game, so to speak.
Yeah.
And we just haven't. Man, Jenna, you remember a couple of years ago, I was as big of a Ben Simmons defender as there was, because I said we focus on the one thing he does poorly instead of all the other things he does great. And the argument was, of course, he'll get better at that one thing. But he hasn't. And maybe he's tried to get better in practice, but in the games, there's been no evidence whatsoever that he has any willingness to shoot the basketball, and that at this point in 2020, you can't win that way.
The thing that concerned me the most, Nick, was earlier, I think it was in this season, maybe it was in the preseason, where when the subject came up of his refusal to shoot, his reticence to shoot, it was basically, I'm an all-star. Like, that was an actual exchange that happened. You can't think that way. You know, we're all talking about for the last few weeks all the lessons we learned from Kobe Bryant in his career. What did Kobe do consistently throughout his career? He worked on his game. He strove to get better, and he constantly added things. Nobody can come into this league, no matter how talented you are, and say, you know what? I'm an all-star.
And rest on those laurels.
Yeah, it just doesn't work that way, not in the NBA.
And we're not in a place in a time right now where you're going to have a head coach that's going to force you to do certain things that you don't want to do. And the question with this team now becomes, what's more likely to happen? Ben Simmons learns how to shoot, or Joel Embiid gets in shape, the kind of shape you want to see him playing in? And I think you guys are both saying Joel Embiid is the one that's most likely going to change.
Howard, I've seen Joel in shape. And I think one of the things where I try to be fair with Joel, I understand he might have some eating habit issues, whatever that is. Because he's had injury issues and because he's so big, he can't do the regular conditioning guys need to do. He's going to have to, at times, play his way into shape because he can't do all of the off-season things cardiovascular-wise that you would need to do to be in tip-top shape because he does have to be careful on his lower body and lower extremities. And running 5 miles, for example, takes more wear and tear than just about any other player in the league other than Marjanovic, you know what I mean, running 5 miles because of how big he is. And so I don't want to say I give him a pass, but I understand it. The Simmons stuff's inexcusable. And the attitude stuff that you're much closer to league circles than I am, but I still hear certain things. Man, people do wonder, is Ben Simmons more infatuated with being a star than he is with being a star player? Like, that is a real, I don't know Ben, so I can't speak to it. I know that is, whether it's true or not, a question people around the league have about him.
And it's not an unusual one. I don't know Ben Simmons well enough to know either whether that's the case. But it is the case that happens with NBA players, right? We know that this happens.
Yes.
There are some guys who are more about the lifestyle and the limelight and the payday than they are about a passion for winning. And again, this goes back to my just distance observation of these two guys. Embiid has a passion and a caring there that you can see that's evident. His emotions are on his sleeve. Ben Simmons does not. It makes me wonder.
One quick follow-up point. Because Ben Simmons might be on the trade block this summer, this was one of the reasons that I thought that Golden State trade was such an abomination. That if the Warriors end up with the #1 pick, which they have the worst record, I know you're far from it, I wonder what Philly says to D'Angelo Russell in the #1 pick for Ben Simmons.
Because I think they can do better.
You think who can do better?
I think the Sixers can do better. If Simmons is on the block, they're going to be able to do better.
Do better than even that. Okay, yes. Fair enough. The point, because I think Ben actually would fit great in Golden State because he doesn't need to shoot because you have all the shooting in the world around you. And I think D'Angelo Russell would be much better fit next to Joel, even though Ben might be a better player than D'Angelo Russell. It's just, if Ben Simmons comes available, I think there's going to be a lot of people that feel like we can fix either what ails him, or we won't even ask him to change because we don't have a Joel Embiid clogging the paint.
Look, we've done the Sixers so many times. Every time we finish, I could easily say the same sentence. You can count on one hand the amount of times Ben Simmons has shot a three-point shot. What is it now, 3 or 4, maybe?
It's
Kyle O'Quinn has more threes than he does.
There you go.
Great.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.